Good morning. I want to talk today about how the upcoming lunar month is going to affect countries and specific people, and this is going to be part one. So let's see if I can share my screen here. And this just takes a few seconds as I get rid of some panels so that I can see what I'm actually doing here. So just bear with me. Okay, and oh, here we go. I think we're ready. So this is the lunar month for countries and people, part one. And I'll talk about America, Biden, Harris, Trump, China, Israel, Netanyahu, Hamas, and Iran, August 4th through September 2nd. Of course, you can see I've added Vice President Kamala Harris to the list because she is certainly going to be the new Democratic nominee for president. Okay, start with America here. And with all of these countries or people, I'll have the chart for that country or that person on the inside. And on the outside, I put the transits at the time of the full moon, because that's halfway through the month. So you can kind of see better the transits as they are coming into effect or have been in effect. All right. Additionally, for America, I typically use the July 2nd, 1776 chart, 11:50 a.m. in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That is believed to be when the Continental Congress passed the Declaration for Independence. I think that works a little better than July 4th charts, though, as I always say, oftentimes the creation of a country like America, it's not a single event, but a process. A process with several relevant moments and hence several relevant charts. Okay, now if we look at what's going to be going on during this lunar month for America, there are some hard aspects and just one soft or good aspect. First, we have transiting Chiron making a semi-square to Uranus. This could result in some wounding through unexpected developments of some sort, particularly perhaps involving other countries or other organizations or people. We also have transiting Neptune, still pretty strongly square natal Venus. Consequently, there's a lot of misinformation and confusion out there. There's a lot of false propaganda, and many people in the country are just going a little crazy right now. And that's still going to affect us for a while. It's been ongoing and will be ongoing. So watch out for misinformation delusion. Along those lines, I saw a story yesterday that Elon Musk took a video of Kamala Harris, and I believe using artificial intelligence, he altered what she is saying and put different words in her mouth, and then put that out on X, what was formerly known as Twitter, and did not really tell people that this was an altered video. So there you go, more misinformation in our politics and presidential election. And then we have transiting Uranus making a semi-square to our natal sun. The sun is in the 10th house, and that's often going to refer to the president. And of course, uh, this indicates some sudden changes, shakeups with regard to the president. And it wasn't that long ago that he dropped out of the presidential election and recommended that Vice President Harris take his place. So we have all of that going on. But we also have transiting Uranus, making a trine to Pluto. Pluto's down in the fourth house, so this could be some sort of innovative transformation in the homeland. And I believe just today, or very recently, President Biden has put forth some recommendations for changes to the Supreme Court. He wants an ethics code that is enforceable. And I believe he would like term limits of 18 years on the justices rather than letting them serve for life. Okay, so that is going to be a lot of what's going to be going on with America in this upcoming lunar month from August 4th through September 2nd. And here you can see when each of these transits will be in effect and when they're going to be strongest. And since the lunar month ends on September 2nd, we're mainly looking at all of this stuff in August. Okay. I could have put Jupiter trine Saturn in there, but that is just about to end. It ends very quickly after the start of the lunar month, so I left it out. But this represents a good balance between growth and regulation. Uranus trine Pluto, that is going to be very strong in both August and September. And that can refer to innovation, whether it's political or in terms of technology, but things that are really going to benefit the homeland and help transform it in good ways. But then we also have all of these challenges that are primarily in August. Now, if we look at President Biden, he still has transiting Pluto square his natal moon. So he could still have health problems. He could still have mental pressures or anguish upon him. And since the moon is in his fifth house, which rules his children, it could be problems involving his son, Hunter Biden, that could cause him a lot of pressure and anguish. And he has transiting Uranus opposite his natal sun. And this got within 1 degree orb of being exact the day after he announced he was dropping out of the political race. Uranus always breaks up the existing pattern. So this is going to represent shifts and changes in his life. And that's going to continue throughout this month. He has transiting Jupiter semi-square his moon and also transiting Saturn, making a semi-square to his natal moon. So his personality, his health, issues with children, those are all going to be highlighted during this lunar month. And he may have some issues in working with others since Jupiter is in the seventh house, and he will probably have some restrictions on his health. And Saturn is still close to the cusp of his fourth house, so he's still making that transition from being a public figure to a private figure. Now, the one good thing is transiting Neptune is making a trine to his natal Venus. And this is going to give him a certain magnetism, a certain aura, which will be beneficial. Venus is fairly close to the cusp of his first house, his ascendant. And President Biden is going to be the person who is putting forth transcendent, more inspired ideas. He's going to look at the big picture, take the high road, and put forth a better way for us to proceed. So, a lot of challenges, but also one thing working toward his benefit. And here you can see when all of those are going to be in effect. Let's see. transiting Neptune, trine Venus. That's going to start probably around the second week of the lunar month. Then it gets stronger and stronger, becomes exact in September 19th, which will be into the next lunar month. Transiting Uranus, opposite his natal sun. That's getting stronger throughout August and September. And it looks like it starts to fade a little bit in the next lunar month toward the end of September. So a lot of changes and adjustments in his life. And this lunar month will be the last month for now that he has Pluto making that square to his moon, affecting his health and other things in his life. Saturn semi-square the moon, that picks up toward the end of the lunar month, probably around the last week. Jupiter semi-square the moon, that is going to be in effect during mainly the first half of the lunar month, becomes exact on August 10th. Okay, let's take a look at Kamala Harris for this lunar month. And as you can see over here, she has an awful lot of challenges. And a lot of these challenges, one way or another, involve Pluto. So she has to go through a lot of transformations this month, which is understandable because she's suddenly gone from being the second person on a ticket to being the primary person on the ticket. And she's going to have to make a lot of changes in her personality, the way she delivers things. But I think she is probably going to be up to the challenge. So this could also be very energizing. She has transiting Pluto, square her natal Mercury. So she has to make transformations in how she communicates. Transiting Pluto, sesquiquadrate natal Pluto, that's in the third house. More transformations in communication. Transiting Pluto, semi-square her natal Chiron. There's some other aspects, hard aspects going on with her that involve Chiron. Chiron's in her 10th house, so she may be wounded a bit in her status. The Republicans may land some blows on her, for example. And let's see, we have transiting Saturn, opposite natal Venus. Venus is in, let's see. Oh, I'm sorry, I said Pluto was in her third house. It looks like it, but actually, this is all in her fourth house. So these are transformations and changes in her personal life that have to take place. And Saturn is going through her 10th house, so she has to make adjustments to her personal life as she shifts attention from that to her public life as a leader. And let's see, we have transiting Jupiter over here, square both her natal Pluto and her natal Chiron. Chiron in the 10th, Pluto in the 4th. Again, this could be wounding as a result of past actions or positions being brought up, or it could also be maybe some health problems of some sort that she has to deal with. And transiting Jupiter is also going to be making a sesquiquadrate to natal Mercury. So again, it's all about finding that right balance with communication with others. Transiting Jupiter is going to be square natal Venus. So Venus is being highlighted again. So again, issues involving her personal life or within her personal life. And transiting Saturn, I got two T's there, should just be one. I'll change that later. Transiting Saturn is opposite natal Pluto. Okay, so again, she'll have restrictions on her personal life. She's going to have to be disciplined as a leader, and transformations in her personal life are going to occur. And this is all very understandable given that she is now going to be the presidential candidate for the Democrats. The one good aspect is transiting Saturn will be making a trine to Neptune. So she is also going to be putting forth more transcendent ideas and a vision for America in her role as a leader. So that's good. And here you can see all the times that this stuff is going to be in effect. And like I say, there are a lot of challenges for her this lunar month and even into the next lunar month. But she might start to hit her stride by mid-August as Saturn trine Neptune begins to take effect. And that peaks on August 28th. Okay, now let's take a look at Donald Trump. He has kind of a mix or balance of hard aspects and easy aspects. And Chiron is going to simultaneously wound him and heal him. Transiting Chiron is square his natal Saturn. And so he's going to have some restrictions and wounding upon him, particularly his status. Transiting Uranus is still be squaring his natal Mars. And he's still going to be erratic, angry, and at risk for accidents or even assassination attempts. Hopefully that won't happen again. Regardless of your political views, it's not good for the country for any leader to be a target of assassination. Transiting Saturn is going to be squaring his natal Uranus. So Saturn here, natal Uranus here, that's going to put some restrictions on his position and status in society. But then these good aspects are going to throw him some lifelines. Transiting Chiron is sextile his natal sun. So while Chiron is wounding him on one hand, it's going to be healing him on the other. Transiting Jupiter makes a trine to his natal Jupiter. That's going to help give him some really good luck this month. And transiting Jupiter conjunct his natal Uranus, that is going to work to expand his reputation and status in society, even as Saturn is working to restrict it. So we have these conflicting transits going on. Damage done by one transit will be healed or improved upon by another. And here you can see when these things are going to be in effect. And transiting Chiron sextile his sun, that is going to be strong throughout this lunar month and becomes exact at the time of the next new moon and continues on into September. Transiting Jupiter, trine Jupiter, that is going to reach its peak on August 19th, which interestingly is also the start of the Democratic National Convention, which could be very chaotic. I think I talked about that in my general overview of this lunar month. This is also going to be the time of the August full moon. Now let's take a look at China. China's second house of money and resources continues to be impacted, and so I think it's still going to have some economic problems, but it's going to get some lifelines from allies and other countries. So let's see, on the difficult side, we've got transiting Chiron, square natal Jupiter in the second house. That could be wounding to the economy. Transiting Neptune, sesquiquadrate natal Mars. There could be some aggression or violence based upon ideological beliefs going on. This could be something domestic, or could be just some belligerent communication going on between China and others. And then transiting Jupiter is making a sesquiquadrant to natal moon, again in the second house. So some actions of other countries are going to probably negatively impact the economy. But at the same time, transiting Jupiter in that seventh house makes a sextile to the natal north node, which means it's going to be trine. Let's see, the south node. And so basically, its plans for growth are going to continue, even though there are impediments going on this month. And transiting Jupiter is also making a sextile to natal Pluto. So probably other countries and allies are going to be helpful uh, to China and its economy as it tries to implement its long-term plans and transform itself in one way or another. Nonetheless, it's still going to have some most likely economic difficulties this month. And these bars will show when both the good stuff and the bad stuff are going to be in effect. So we have most of the good stuff, all of the good stuff happening in August. And let's see, I believe this stuff right here I didn't talk about because they peter out pretty quickly after the start of this lunar month. But the bad stuff, well, that's all you're going to get in September. And Saturn making a semi-square to the moon. Did I have that in here? Ah, looks like I left that one out. Sorry about that. Saturn will be making a semi-square to the moon again. Moon's second house, that affects the economy, puts restrictions upon it. And that is going to take effect in the latter part of August and will be exact on September 2nd. Okay, now let's go on to Israel. Well, the big thing is that transiting Chiron is still opposite the natal ascendant. Most likely, Israel is going to continue to be wounded by others and probably wound others in return. So the conflict that could be going on still for quite a while. Transiting Neptune is making a semi-square to the north node, which means it makes a sesquiquadrant to the south node. So there is probably going to be some propaganda going on, both by Israel and trying to bolster its side of things and against Israel by its adversaries as they try to make the case for what they're doing. We may not get much truth or the exact truth out of either side, but mostly probably misinformation and confusion. And then we have transiting Jupiter is going to be making a semi-square to the natal moon. Moon is in the 10th house. So that is probably going to reflect some direct criticism of Netanyahu. And I believe in the polls now in Israel, he has about a 70% disapproval rating. People are not happy with what he is doing. However, Chiron and Jupiter are going to throw him and Israel some lifelines too. Transiting Chiron will be sextile, natal Uranus. So Israel is going to get some healing and support from other countries and its allies. And transiting Jupiter is going to sextile natal Saturn, which is in the 10th house. So Israel's leadership is also going to get some support and probably an expansion of resources to help Israel defend itself against those who are attacking it. And this shows when things are going to be in effect. And once we get into the second half of this lunar month, it's going to be mainly the hard aspects going on. And that Neptune making a semi-square to the north node, that's going to be exact at the start of the next lunar month on September 2nd. Okay, now if we take a look at Netanyahu himself, again, he's got a lot of hard aspects, but also lifelines from Jupiter, which will involve his allies and other countries. So let's look at the hard stuff. Transiting Chiron is squaring natal Jupiter. That is going to wound his resources and his luck. Transiting Pluto, making a sesquiquadrate to natal Saturn. And let's see, that is going to put some transformations and probably restrictions upon his actions. Again, Pluto's going through the second house of personal resources. So things involving his resources may wound him and restrict him. Transiting Uranus is squaring his natal Mars. He is going to probably tend to be erratic, aggressive, and angry about a lot of things. And interestingly, his natal Mars is in the exact same position as Donald Trump's natal Mars. So when it comes to the use of energy and aggression, they are probably very much in sync with one another. And as one gets angry and erratic, the other is getting angry and erratic too. And let's see, transiting Jupiter is square his natal Saturn. So again, Saturn is going to be impacted, and allies and other countries are probably going to be putting limitations on his ability to control and regulate things the way he wants to. And transiting Chiron makes a sesquiquadrate to natal Chiron. So again, another aspect from Chiron, which can cause some wounding of some sort to him personally. But on the beneficial side, we have transiting Jupiter making three very good aspects, making a trine to natal Neptune in his 10th house. That will help boost his status and his allure, his magnetism. Transiting Jupiter, sextile his natal north node, which means it's making a trine to the south node, and that's going to help him implement his plans and help his status. And transiting Jupiter is also trying his natal moon, so that's going to help him in his dealings with others. So he's still going to get these lifelines from allies and other countries that will help him deal with all these other problems. So he may not be out of office anytime soon. And here you can see when each of these aspects is going to be in effect. And he has some of the good stuff going on throughout all of August and into September. Interestingly, I've seen a lot of people that have an aspect which is exact at the time of the next new moon. So that could be a very important new moon for the world. Jupiter trine his natal Neptune, or sorry, natal moon. That is exact on September 2nd, the date of the next new moon, the beginning of the next lunar month in September. Okay, now if we take a look at Hamas, it looks like they're going to continue to have some restrictions upon them and continue to have their luck impaired in certain ways and continue to be following this delusional ideology, but they're also going to have some lifelines thrown to them by Chiron and Jupiter. So let's see what we have here. We have transiting Neptune, sesquiquadrate the natal moon, delusional thinking, delusional ideology. What else is new? Transiting Saturn square their natal sun. That's going to be putting more restrictions upon them. Transiting Neptune also conjunct their natal north node, which means it's opposite the south node. So that lunar nodal axis is being activated. So they're going to continue, in their particular case, to have this delusional ideology as their mission, their goal for the future. Transiting Jupiter opposite their sun, that can affect their luck. Things will not work out exactly as expected, and they will probably, whatever they do, they'll tend to go overboard. And that could be quite unfortunate. However, transiting Chiron will be trining their natal Saturn, and transiting Jupiter is going to be sextile their natal Jupiter. So they're going to get healing and good luck from various directions, quite likely from their main benefactor, which is Iran. And so, despite all these difficulties, they're going to get some resources, most likely, that can help them continue what they're doing. And again, you can see here when these aspects are going to be in effect and when they're going to be exact. And once again, we have an aspect which is exact at the time of the next new moon on September 2nd. We'll have transiting Chiron trine Saturn. Okay. And transiting Jupiter, sextile natal Jupiter, that kicks in toward the end of August. So in September, things are going to be looking up a bit for Hamas, but they're going to have the bulk of their difficulties during August. And lastly, let's take a look at Iran. They've got a lot of challenges, a few benefits. Transiting Chiron is still going to be square the natal midheaven, so leadership could still be wounded in some way. I think it's under this aspect that their leader lost his life in a helicopter crash. Transiting Saturn is going to be opposite the natal north node, which means it's conjunct the south node. They're going to continue to follow this very restrictive, backward-looking plan rather than looking forward to the future. So probably more repression in their society. Transiting Jupiter, semi-square natal Jupiter, there are going to be difficulties with growth for the country. As a result of that, transiting Jupiter square the natal lunar nodal axis. So again, they're going to try and intensify their growth. May not work out exactly as planned. Transiting Saturn. Where's that? Up here, making a sesquiquadrate to natal Jupiter. Down here, again, Jupiter's in the fourth house, the homeland. Restrictions, hardships upon the homeland. That's probably going to be the result of sanctions and political policies that the country enforces upon their own people. On the good side, transiting Chiron will be making a sextile to natal Mercury. So the leadership gets healing in other ways, just as it also gets wounded. Let's see, that's not leadership. This is collaborations with others, friends. They're going to get healing from their friends. Transiting Jupiter is trine natal Mars. So they may expand their military activities and Working with others, this could very well work out not them expanding their military activities directly, but letting Hezbollah and Hamas do the dirty work for them. But this could be not only military activities, but other kinds of collaborations, group collaborations with others. And then we also have transiting Jupiter, trine natal Pluto, and this could provide some financial benefits to the workers in the country. So there are a lot of challenges also for Chiron. I'm sorry, for Iran, not Chiron. There are ways in which it's being wounded by Chiron and restricted by Saturn. But there are other ways in which Iran is getting relief through working with others. So another bit of a mixed bag. And here you can see when these aspects are going to be in effect, when they're going to be exact. Transiting Chiron, square the midheaven, that's going to be exact on September 4th, 2 days after the next new moon. Transiting Chiron, sextile natal Mercury, that's in effect throughout the entire lunar month. We have a lot of hard things happening this month. Jupiter trine Uranus, that's going to occur around the middle of the month, lasts for about a couple of weeks. It's exact on the 16th. I would not be surprised, as I said, if this reflects Iran expanding its military support to Hamas and Hezbollah, but there are other ways it could work out, other kinds of collaborations that could be expanded, for instance, with Russia, or who knows, maybe China or others. Jupiter trine Pluto, that starts to come into effect in the latter part of August, and it's going to be exact one day before the new moon in September. So this could be something beneficial involving sixth house, which is going to be the labor force, the health of the population, something which expands there. Okay, and it looks like that is going to be it for part one of the lunar month for countries and people. So give me a second here and I will end this presentation. Let's see, stop sharing my screen. Okay, and I'm back. So uh, that's part one of countries and people. I hope you join me for part two when I'll talk about other countries and people such as Putin and Russia, Ukraine, King Charles, Princess Kate, the United Kingdom, and Pope Francis. And that should be interesting too. So please join me. In the meantime, uh, be kind to others and be well. And I'll talk to you again soon. So long.